Have you ever walked into psychometric test confident, then you somehow still flopped? Even though you've actually revised, you practiced, you did the whole thing, I'm ready routine, and you pumped your chest, and you're like, I can do this. So then also try and explain this to me. Why does somebody who has done less prep than what you've actually been doing over the weeks normally pass these psychometrics? Here's what nobody tells you. Most people don't fail because they're actually bad at maths or logic or English. They fail because they actually train for the wrong game. And later in this video, I'm going to show you the one mistake that quietly destroys the scores that you'll normally get and how you can actually fix it instantly. Top of the morning, everyone. My name is Tshidi and I'm back with another video. Last day I actually posted a psychometric test video and it became one of the most popular or viral videos on my channel. So clearly this thing is actually stressing quite a lot of people out. First thing that we need to think about is, what do psychometrics really measure? Most people usually think that psychometrics are all about intelligence. And the truth is they're not. They're designed to actually measure how you think under pressure, with a clock ticking over your head, and your brain trying to actually do the most and trying to figure out what's happening. They're also basically testing three things. Number one is speed. How fast do you normally process certain information that's provided to you? Number two is accuracy. How well do you actually spot the different patterns without actually guessing widely? Number three is consistency. Whether your thinking stays stable when you're actually stressed and timed. That's why most people actually panic, even when they actually know the content, because the test isn't really asking, do you know this information? It's asking, can you perform under pressure? And once you understand that, your whole approach normally changes. Now, let's talk about where people normally mess up when it comes to these psychometrics. Mistake number one is that, people are treating it like a school exam. People aim for 100%. Then they run out of time and then they fail that psychometric. Psychometric tests reward speed plus accuracy, not perfection. Mistake number two is that practicing questions without actually learning the pattern. Now, if you're doing a question after question, but you can't actually explain what the answer is correct, you're basically just doing cardio, not training. And then mistake number three is overthinking personality tests, which is something that we know a lot of people actually go to. And remember, there are no right or wrong answers in personality assessments. What employers look for is one thing: consistency. If your answers contradict each other when it comes to personality tests, that's when you actually get flagged. And one of the biggest mistakes that we all tend to make, because we know we're actually going to do those psychometrics, is that we practice until we're very tired instead of practicing until we actually understand the patterns of some of those psychometrics. So how do you practice strategically without wasting hours just repeating the whole thing without being able to explain why a certain answer is the right answer? So practicing more isn't the goal here. So practicing smarter is the goal. So stop mixing everything together like you're in a buffet. Break your practice into different categories. Either start focusing only on numerical reasoning to understand that, and then you jump into verbal reasoning, and then later you can then do logical and abstract reasoning. Pick one category per session. So don't try and mix them up because it's going to get confusing. And then you have to do this now. Try and make sure that you time yourself every single time that you do an assessment. Then track two things in that scenario. Where did you lose a lot of time? And where did you lose a lot of marks? If you think you're spending too much time on one question, it's time to move on, because like we said, it's about speed, not about always getting 100%. Because your problem isn't not necessarily about, the ability to actually do that, but it's that pattern recognition, or the rushing or the speed. Those are the most important things. Now, instead of asking, what's the answer here? Ask yourself, what are they actually testing? Because once you actually recognize the pattern, the question stops being scary and it becomes a bit more predictable. Also, try by all means, whatever you do, practice under real test conditions, which means you should be timed, there should be no distractions, there should be no scrolling on your phone as you go through this whole thing in between the questions, and no calculator unless it's actually allowed. Because if you're going to do that and they require you to not have a calculator, you're going to fail your next assessment. Because remember guys, comfort kills speed and performance. Now that you actually know how to practice, let me share the stuff that people don't really tell you, but it makes a massive difference when you're preparing and you do the psychometrics. Secret number one, guys, is process of elimination is your best friend. You don't always need the right answer immediately. You just need to remove the clearly wrong options first. Secret number 2 is patterns always repeat more than you think. So employers reuse question structures all the time. The numbers normally change, the story changes, but the structure usually stays exactly the same. Once you've actually seen enough formats, you can actually start recognizing some of these formats. Oh, it's this one again. Then you're able to know, okay, this is what they're trying to break down when it comes to some of these things. Secret number 3, guys, is calm beats clever. I've seen a lot of people where, they've got very strong skills, but they fail because they actually panicked. And I've also seen candidates who actually score very highly because they actually stayed steady and managed their time properly. And for the personality test, you need to remember one thing. Answer honestly, but try and also be as consistent as you can. Don't try and perform for the employer, because if you keep on doing some of these things, when people try to guess the right personality, they start contradicting themselves, because you will get 3 of the exact same question or 3 different answers, but still asking for the same thing. And if you're not consistent, you will fail. Now, before we actually wrap up, let's actually lock in what you're actually going to do after watching this video, so that it doesn't just become another video that you've actually liked and you've forgotten. Now, here's something that we've actually covered. Psychometrics measure, the thinking under pressure, not just intelligence. Secondly, most people fail because they ignore the timing, the patterns, and the consistency. And then smart practice beats endless practice. And calm, strategic test taking can outperform raw brain power. Now, if you apply these strategies, your next test will feel completely different going forward. Now, what I want to hear from you guys is, which type of psychometric questions do you normally struggle with? Numerical, verbal, logical, personality test? Drop it in the comments below and tell me what actually makes it harder for you. And if you want, I'll even follow-up video to break down the most common question, types step by step, so that you actually understand exactly what is required out of you. Now, if you found these tips helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for the content that's designed to help you navigate your career confidence, skill. Until we meet again, peace.